It happens without warning. Mom gathers us in the living room on a Thursday evening. The chandelier casts warm light across the mahogany table where we've shared countless meals. She clears her throat, hands folded neatly. "I've made a decision about the business," she says, her voice steady. "Rachel will be taking over full control of operations and my personal affairs." Everyone erupts in applause. My brother James grins. Aunt Linda nods approvingly. Rachel beams, accepting hugs and congratulations like she's won an award. I sit frozen, coffee mug halfway to my lips. Nobody even glances my direction. It's as if I'm not here at all. The familiar sting spreads through my chest, sharp, then dull, then numbing. Once again, I'm invisible. The one who's always been there, always handled things, always fixed problems quietly. But never praised. Never chosen. Rachel catches my eye across the table. Instead of triumph, I see something unexpected. Pity. Not gratitude, not excitement. Pity. Like I'm a wounded animal she feels sorry for. That look tells me everything I need to know. I've always been the reliable one. Even as kids, the pattern was clear. Rachel would start projects with enthusiasm, then abandon them halfway through. I'd quietly finish them. She'd forget to feed our dog. I'd slip downstairs before school to fill his bowl. She'd promise Mom she'd clean her room, then vanish with friends. I'd tidy it so Mom wouldn't be disappointed. Rachel was praised for her potential, her charisma, her big dreams. Teachers loved her energy. Family friends adored her charm. Meanwhile, I was expected to deliver results without applause. "That's just what you do," Dad would say when I brought home perfect grades or completed chores without being asked. Mom started the textile import business 20 years ago, building it from nothing. When Dad died 5 years back, I stepped in to help. I learned the vendor relationships, memoized the inventory systems, handled the accounting. Rachel was finding herself in Europe, posting sunset photos on Instagram. Looking back now, I realize this takeover wasn't decided today. It was decided long before. Monday morning, Rachel calls me into Mom's office, her office now, I suppose. She's rearranged everything. Dad's old desk faces the window instead of the door. New abstract art hangs where family photos used to be. She sits behind the desk, posture straight, trying to look presidential. "I need to make some changes," she says, sliding a document toward me. "Temporarily revoking your access to company accounts. Just during the transition. Nothing personal, purely restructuring protocol." My stomach tightens. "Rachel, I've managed those accounts for..." "I know," she interrupts, smile tight. "But I need to establish my own systems. You understand." I sign the form because arguing would make me look bitter. As I leave, I hear employees whispering near the break room. Their voices drop when they see me. Sarah from accounting looks away quickly. Mark from shipping gives me a sympathetic nod. That afternoon, my phone rings. It's Victor, our oldest fabric vendor. "Hey, what's going on?" "Rachel just canceled our standing Thursday shipments without explanation." My throat goes dry. "She did what?" I try calling Rachel immediately. No answer. I text her. Victor called confused about shipment cancellation. "Can we discuss?" 3 hours later, she replies, "Handled it." But it's not handled. Victor's been our supplier for 15 years. We have a carefully negotiated agreement, Thursday shipments at a locked-in rate that saves us 30%. It took me months to structure that deal. Rachel apparently told him we'd modernize our vendor relationships and wanted flexible scheduling instead of rigid commitments. Victor doesn't do flexible. He does reliable. That's why we chose him. By Wednesday, he emails his regrets. The relationship is over. Our next best supplier charges 40% more and has longer lead times. Revenue will dip immediately. Our margins were already tight. That evening, Rachel sends a company-wide email praising her bold restructuring to eliminate outdated systems and position us for growth. She doesn't mention Victor by name. She doesn't have to. Everyone knows she means me. Sunday dinner at Mom's house feels different. Rachel arrives late, breezing in with shopping bags and stories about a networking lunch. Mom hangs on every word, eyes bright with pride. I help set the table, same as always. I'm in the kitchen slicing bread when I hear Rachel's voice from the dining room. "Mom, I need you to understand something. This transition would be smoother if certain people weren't so resistant to change." My hand's still on the bread knife. "Kendra?" Mom asks quietly. I hate to say it, but yes. She's been bitter since you announced my promotion. Undermining decisions, questioning everything. I think she's jealous. My vision blurs. I grip the counter. Are you sure? Mom sounds uncertain. That doesn't sound like Kendra. I know it's hard to see. She's always been good at playing the victim. But Mom, I'm trying to move this company forward, and I need your full support. A long pause. Then Mom's voice, softer, of course, sweetheart. I believe you. I stay in the kitchen until my breathing steadies. 3 weeks pass. I watch things slip through Rachel's fingers like water. Invoices pile up unpaid because she hasn't learned the payment schedule system. Longtime partners stop responding to her emails. They don't know her, don't trust her yet. Staff morale drops visibly. People who used to joke and laugh now keep their heads down. Rachel hired her college friend Brittany as director of operations, a position that didn't exist before. Brittany has a marketing degree and zero logistics experience. She keeps suggesting we leverage social media synergies and create brand storytelling moments. Our clients are wholesale buyers who care about fabric quality and delivery schedules, not Instagram aesthetics. I keep quiet, partly from hurt, partly from curiosity. How far will this go before something breaks? Tuesday afternoon, Marcus from the warehouse finds me in the parking lot. Kendra, got a minute? His face is tense. Sure, what's up? The new inventory system Brittany implemented, it's causing problems. We've got shipments going to wrong addresses, orders missing items. I tried telling Rachel, but she said I'm resisting innovation. He looks genuinely worried. Can you help? Marcus shows me the inventory system on his tablet. My stomach sinks. Brittany replaced our reliable, boring tracking software with something sleek and modern that doesn't integrate with our shipping partner systems. It's a disaster. But I can't fix it. Not without access. Not without authority. That same week, our biggest client, Hartman Textiles, sends a terse email. They've experienced multiple shipping errors and delayed invoices. They are reconsidering the partnership and will make a final decision by month's end. That's 3 weeks away. I forward the email to Rachel with a gentle note. Hartman is serious. We should prioritize this. She replies, bluffing. They need us more than we need them. But I've known Hartman's purchasing director, Linda, for 4 years. She doesn't bluff. She's already told me privately they've been courting other suppliers. I try calling Rachel. Voicemail. I try texting. No response. 2 weeks pass. Hartman sets a hard deadline. Final decision Friday at 5 p.m. Rachel still hasn't called them. Friday morning, Rachel schedules an emergency staff meeting to address rumors and reassure everyone about our strong position. The conference room is packed. People shift uncomfortably in their seats. Rachel stands at the head of the table, clicking through a presentation. Revenue projections for Q3 show modest growth, she announces confidently. Numbers flash on the screen, colorful graphs, upward arrows. But something's wrong. I've seen the actual reports. These numbers don't match. Gerald from finance frowns, leaning forward. Rachel, that growth figure, are you including the Hartman contract in projections? She blinks. Of course. They're a major client. But their contract expires today. And they haven't renewed. Silence blankets the room. Rachel's smile falters. They will. It's a formality. What about the Victor cancellation? Someone else asks. That's a 30% cost increase we haven't budgeted for. Rachel's face flushes. She fumbles with her notes. We're exploring better vendors. More competitive rates. Which vendors? Gerald presses gently. She doesn't answer. Can't answer. Slowly, one by one, eyes turn toward me in the back corner. After the meeting dissolves awkwardly, Rachel finds me in the hallway. Her confidence has cracked, revealing panic underneath. She pulls me into an empty office, closing the door. I need your help, she says quietly. I wait. Behind the scenes. You know these systems better than I do. Just guide me. Tell me what to do. Why behind the scenes? I ask. She shifts uncomfortably. Because Mom put me in charge. I can't look like I don't know what I'm doing. But you could advise me. Privately. The offer hangs between us. Part of me wants to refuse, to let her drown in consequences. But this is Mom's business. These are people's jobs. Real lives affected by pride and politics. I'll help, I say finally. But on my terms. She nods eagerly. Anything. I need access restored. Full transparency on decisions. And Rachel, you have to actually listen. She agrees. We shake hands. I wonder if she means it. That weekend, I dive back in. First priority, Hartman. I call Linda directly, apologizing for the confusion, explaining the transition. She's skeptical but agrees to a meeting Monday. Rachel and I present together. I do most of the talking, outlining improvements to our shipping protocols and invoice systems. Rachel nods along, adding supportive comments. Linda watches us both carefully. By Wednesday, Hartman agrees to renew, with conditions. Probationary period, stricter delivery metrics. But we keep them. Next, I renegotiate with Victor's competitor, securing better terms than Rachel's original approach. I fix Brittany's inventory disaster, quietly implementing a hybrid system that looks modern but actually works. I smooth over relationships with 3 other vendors Rachel had alienated. Employees start coming to me again with questions, even though Rachel's technically in charge. They follow my lead instinctively, the way they always have. 2 months later, the company stabilizes. Numbers improve. Mom looks relieved. At the next family dinner, she toasts Rachel's leadership. You've really turned things around, sweetheart. I'm so proud. Rachel accepts the praise, smiling. I cut my chicken and say nothing. Rachel grows bolder. At a board meeting, she presents the recovery plan I developed, claiming it as her strategic vision. When I took over, I immediately identified inefficiencies and implemented comprehensive reforms, she tells the board members, clicking through my slides. Nobody corrects her. I sit 3 seats down, watching. The worst part? She starts believing her own narrative. At a networking event, I overhear her telling someone, my sister's methods were well-intentioned but outdated. I had to modernize everything while managing her resistance to change. It wasn't easy, but leadership requires tough decisions. The words burn worse than any physical pain. I excuse myself to the bathroom, gripping the sink, breathing slowly. That Sunday, Mom corners me after dinner. Rachel tells me the turnaround was harder than expected because you were attached to old systems. I look at my mother, this woman I've served faithfully for years, and realize she'll always believe Rachel first. Is that what she told you? I ask quietly. Mom nods. But she said you've been more cooperative lately. I'm glad you two are working together. I smile tightly. Me too, Mom. 3 months into Rachel's leadership, we face a critical decision. A major retailer, Bellington's, wants to partner with us exclusively. It's a massive opportunity. Guaranteed volume, national exposure, steady revenue. But their terms are aggressive. They want 40% below our standard wholesale price, citing the volume they'll provide. I run the numbers carefully. Rachel, we can't accept these terms. Even with their volume, our margins disappear. We'd be working at a loss once you factor in production costs and Victor's replacement vendor pricing. Rachel waves dismissively. You're being too conservative. This is Bellington's. The exposure alone is worth it. Think of the prestige. Prestige doesn't pay our suppliers. I counter. Let me negotiate better terms. I can probably get them to. No. I'm accepting their offer. This is exactly the big picture thinking that was missing before. She signs the contract that afternoon. I watch it happen in real time, a slow-motion car crash. The contract takes effect immediately. We're suddenly producing 3 times our normal volume at a fraction of the profit. Within 2 weeks, cash flow tightens dangerously. The consequences cascade fast. We can't pay vendors on time because Bellington's payment schedule is net 90 days after delivery before we see a penny. But our suppliers expect payment in 30 days. We're suddenly floating 3 months of operating costs with no incoming cash. Payroll almost doesn't clear. Marcus approaches me quietly. Kendra, people are nervous. Are we okay? I don't know how to answer honestly without causing panic. Rachel calls an emergency meeting, trying to project calm. Minor cash flow timing issue. Nothing to worry about. But her hands shake slightly as she shuffles papers. Employees exchange worried glances. Sarah from accounting starts updating her LinkedIn profile. 2 warehouse workers give notice. That evening, Mom calls me. Not Rachel, me. Kendra, what's happening? Rachel says everything's fine, but Linda from Hartman called asking if we're financially stable. She's heard rumors.
I close my eyes. This is the moment.
I can cover for Rachel again, smooth things over, keep pretending.
Or I can tell the truth.
Mom, we need to talk.
In person.
All of us. Mom's voice drops to a whisper. How bad is it? Bad enough. Sunday evening, we gather in Mom's living room. Rachel arrives late, defensive before anyone said a word.
I know why we're here.
Kendra's been undermining me to Mom.
I open my laptop calmly.
I haven't said anything yet, but I'm going to show you something. I pull up a spreadsheet, clean, factual, unemotional. The Bellington contract terms beside our production costs. The cash flow gap illustrated in red. Vendor payment schedules. Payroll projections for the next 3 months. Mom leans forward, reading glasses perched on her nose.
She's built this business from nothing. She knows how to read a balance sheet.
Rachel, is this accurate?
Mom asks quietly.
Rachel's face flushes. Numbers don't tell the whole story. This is a long-term investment. Short-term pain for Rachel. Mom's voice cuts through. Is this accurate?
Silence.
Yes, Rachel whispers finally. Mom turns to me. Why didn't you speak up before? The question hangs in the air, heavy with decades of history.
I've never said this out loud before. Never let myself fully articulate it.
But the words come now, quiet and steady. Because I learned early that speaking up only made me the problem. Mom's face crumples slightly. When Rachel forgot to feed the dog, and I mentioned it, I was tattling. When she broke curfew and I covered for her, I was reliable. When she quit violin lessons after 2 months and I kept playing for years, nobody celebrated my persistence. They praised her for trying something new.
My voice doesn't shake. These are just facts.
I learned that carrying weight quietly was safer than asking for recognition.
That fixing things behind the scenes kept the peace.
That being invisible meant being useful.
Rachel stares at her hands.
So when you gave her control, I stayed silent. Because speaking up would make me jealous, bitter, resistant to change. All the things she's been calling me anyway.
I close my laptop. But I can't stay silent anymore.
Not when people's livelihoods are at stake. Mom wipes tears from her cheeks. She looks older suddenly, fragile.
I'm so sorry, she whispers.
Mom calls a family meeting for Wednesday. James flies in from Seattle.
Aunt Linda arrives with her husband.
Even Mom's business attorney, Mr. Patterson, attends via video call. Rachel sits rigid, arms crossed.
She knows what's coming.
I've asked everyone here to discuss the business situation. Mom begins carefully. Rachel, I need you to explain the Bellington decision. It's a growth strategy, Rachel says defensively.
Kendra's being risk-averse.
Sometimes you have to make bold moves. Even when the numbers don't support it.
James asks, frowning at the spreadsheet I've shared. Numbers aren't everything.
Vision matters. Leadership matters.
Then lead us through your vision, Mom says quietly.
Explain how this works financially. Rachel stumbles through an explanation filled with buzzwords, market positioning, brand elevation, strategic partnership. But when James asks specific questions about cash flow or vendor payments, she deflects. When Aunt Linda presses about profit margins, Rachel gets emotional. You're all ganging up on me. I'm trying my best, and nobody appreciates. Rachel.
Mom's voice is firm. This isn't about appreciation.
This is about competence.
The room goes silent.
Explain to me, Mom continues, why you cancelled Victor's contract. Rachel falters.
It was outdated.
We needed flexibility.
Victor saved us 30% on shipping costs.
What did flexibility gain us?
Silence.
Explain why you hired Brittany for a $50,000 position we didn't need. She brought fresh perspective. That cost us thousands in inventory errors. Kendra, how much did we lose fixing that?
I answer quietly.
Approximately $43,000 in expedited shipping and customer refunds.
Mom nods slowly.
And the Hartman situation. Why didn't you respond to their concerns? I thought they were bluffing. Based on what?
Rachel has no answer. She looks around the room, finding no allies. Her voice cracks.
I didn't know. I thought I was trying.
She dissolves into tears. Part of me feels sorry for her.
But a larger part remembers the pity in her eyes that first night, the lies she told about me, the credit she stole. Mom lets the silence settle, then turns to me. Kendra, can you fix this?
Every eye shifts to me.
This is the moment I've waited for, but it tastes hollow.
I open a different spreadsheet. This one shows solutions, not problems.
First, we need to renegotiate Bellington's terms immediately. I've already drafted a proposal that keeps their volume but adjusts pricing to sustainable margins. If they refuse, we walk.
Mr. Patterson nods approvingly.
Second, we need a bridge loan to cover the cash gap until receivables come in. I've prepared loan applications for 3 banks with existing relationships. Third, we rebuild vendor relationships. I'll personally call each one, explain the transition, negotiate payment plans if needed. I click through 10 more slides. Detailed, practical, achievable.
This isn't theoretical. I've already done the groundwork. Employees would accept this plan. Partners would trust it. The numbers work.
When I finish, Marcus from shipping speaks up from the doorway where he's been listening.
Kendra's plan saved us before.
It'll save us again.
Sarah from accounting nods.
We trust her. Even Brittany, Rachel's friend, says quietly, this makes sense. Mom looks at me with something I've rarely seen, recognition. Then it's settled. Mom's decision is swift and clear. Effective immediately, Kendra resumes full operational control. Rachel, you'll retain your title as VP of Strategic Development, but all major decisions go through Kendra first.
It's a demotion disguised in corporate language. Everyone knows it.
Rachel's face turns white, then red. You're humiliating me.
I'm saving the company, Mom says firmly. You're my daughter, and I love you. But this business feeds 12 families.
Their needs come first. Rachel stands abruptly, chair scraping loud.
This is exactly what she wanted.
She's been sabotaging me from the start, waiting for me to fail. Rachel, I begin.
Don't. She points at me, voice shaking. You've always been jealous. Always wanted what I have.
And now you've turned everyone against me.
She storms out. The front door slams.
The room sits in uncomfortable silence.
Mom looks exhausted.
James squeezes my shoulder. You okay?
I nod, but my chest feels tight. This isn't victory. It's just sad.
Rachel doesn't come to the office for 3 days. When she finally appears, she walks past my desk without speaking. She closes herself in her smaller office, the one she's been reassigned to, and doesn't emerge until lunch. At the coffee station, we collide.
She pours her coffee silently, jaw tight.
I wait for her to speak. Finally, she does. You must be thrilled.
I'm not, I say honestly. Liar. Her voice is bitter. You waited for this. Watched me struggle. Let me fail. Just so you could swoop in and be the hero.
The accusation stings because there's a grain of truth in it. I did watch her struggle.
But not with glee.
With exhausted resignation. Rachel, I didn't want you to fail. You didn't help me succeed either.
I tried. Multiple times.
You ignored me.
She slams her mug down.
Because you never believed in me. You always thought you were smarter, better, more capable.
You looked down on me.
Her words hang between us, raw and painful. I take a slow breath, choosing my words carefully. This might be the most important thing I ever say to her.
I didn't want your downfall, Rachel.
But I refuse to drown for your ego.
She blinks, caught off guard.
You needed to be in charge more than you needed to do the job well. You wanted the title, the recognition, the praise, but not the responsibility that comes with it.
My voice stays steady. I would have helped you.
Really helped.
But you didn't want a partner.
You wanted an audience. Rachel's eyes fill with tears, but she doesn't speak.
I'm not your enemy. I never was. But I'm not your safety net anymore either.
I can't keep catching you while you take credit for standing on your own. She stares at me, mouth slightly open. I hope someday you understand that, I say quietly. But whether you do or not, I'm moving forward.
I pick up my coffee and walk away. She doesn't follow.
The next 6 months are a blur of focused work. I renegotiate the Bellington contract. They accept my terms after realizing we're serious about walking. I secure a bridge loan at favorable rates. I rebuild trust with vendors, one conversation at a time. The inventory system gets replaced with something functional. Shipping errors drop to nearly zero.
Payroll clears on time, every time. Slowly, the business stabilizes. Then it grows. We land 2 new clients, smaller than Bellington but profitable. Employee morale rebounds. People smile in the hallways again. Marcus gets promoted to warehouse manager. Sarah takes on more accounting responsibility.
Even Brittany finds her niche in marketing, where her skills actually fit. After a particularly good quarter, industry contacts start noticing. A trade magazine requests an interview about our turnaround. A competitor reaches out about partnership opportunities. One morning, I find Mom in the office early, looking at financial reports.
She glances up when I enter.
"I should have seen it sooner," she says quietly.
"I'm sorry."
3 months later, Mom hosts a company dinner celebrating our best quarter in 5 years. She stands at the head of the table, glass raised. "I want to acknowledge someone publicly," she begins, voice carrying across the room. "Someone who's been the backbone of this company for years, though I failed to recognize it properly."
My face grows warm. Everyone turns toward me. Kendra didn't just save this business.
She built it, maintained it, and rebuilt it, often without recognition, often without thanks.
Mom's voice cracks slightly.
"As her mother and the founder of this company, I'm sorry it took a crisis for me to see what was always there."
She raises her glass. To Kendra.
"Our foundation."
Everyone stands, applauding.
James whoops.
Marcus grins.
Even Mr. Patterson smiles warmly from his video screen.
I glance toward Rachel's seat. It's empty.
She left early, citing a headache. The moment is bittersweet, vindicating but tinged with loss. This is what I wanted, isn't it? Recognition.
Acknowledgement.
But I wish it hadn't required my sister's public failure.
The family dynamic shifts irrevocably.
Rachel takes a leave of absence, traveling to find clarity. Her Instagram fills with beach photos and inspirational quotes about rising from setbacks and toxic family systems.
I don't respond.
Don't engage.
Just focus on the work. Mom and I grow closer.
We have lunch weekly, discussing business but also life. She asks about my goals, my feelings, my needs, questions she rarely asked before. It's awkward sometimes, this new honesty, but it's real. James visits more often, making effort to include me in decisions. Aunt Linda calls to check in, admitting she never realized how much you were carrying.
The business continues growing. I hire 2 new employees. We expand into sustainable fabrics.
I finally take a vacation, my first in 4 years. When I return, Rachel's back.
She's quieter, more withdrawn.
She keeps to herself mostly, attending meetings but rarely speaking unless directly asked. We exist in parallel, no longer enemies but not quite sisters either.
And I realize something profound. I no longer need her approval. I don't need her acknowledgement. I don't even need her understanding. I know who I am now.
Late one evening, I'm alone in the office reviewing contracts. The city lights twinkle through the window. My desk is neat, organized, exactly how I like it. I think about that first family meeting, when Mom announced Rachel would take over.
How invisible I felt. How small.
I think about the months of watching things crumble, of swallowing pride and hurt and anger, of helping behind the scenes while someone else took credit, of finally standing up and speaking truth. Here's what I've learned. I was never the rejected one.
I was the foundation. The cornerstone.
The load-bearing wall that nobody notices until it's gone. Rachel was the favorite, beautiful, charismatic, full of potential.
But favorites don't build things. They don't sustain things. They shine bright and burn out fast.
I didn't win by being chosen.
I won by being indispensable.
And now, sitting in this quiet office in a company that runs smoothly because of systems I built, relationships I nurtured, crises I managed, I finally understand my worth.
Not because someone gave me a title.
Not because I defeated my sister. But because I proved, to myself most of all, that quiet strength is still strength.
That foundations hold up empires.
And that being underestimated is sometimes the greatest advantage of all.